Your Honor, I'm 25 years old.
So what part of Alabama did you grow up in that all your friends were white?
Birmingham.
In Birmingham. And you're 25 years old.
Yeah.
Which means that was in what? 1990 something you were born?
1990.
And all your friends were white.
Yes.
So if you grew up in Birmingham, Alabama, and all your friends were white, you didn't grow up with your mother?
She was barely around. She was busy cleaning up after white people.
Ooh.
I didn't want to live that poor life.
Mrs. Johnson, when this child of yours was born, that's over here,
Yes, Your Honor.
where were you living?
We were living in Alabama, Your Honor, and I was cleaning houses for a living, Your Honor, and so we ended up living with different white families as I had my job there.
So that's why she said all her friends were white?
Yes, ma'am.
And she went to school in the area of the families, the families that you lived and worked for. She went to school there?
Yes, ma'am.
And do
Yes,
you
ma'am.
realize and understand why you were able to do that?
Yes, because she was poor and uneducated. And so I had to live a life of struggling. And like I said, once I got away from her, I tried my best not to live that kind of life.
So how did you get away from her?
I earned enough money to get away from her, and I started dating this white guy whose family had a lot of money.
At what age?
16.
And then you changed your life? You changed your identity
Yes, I
or
went
something?
to college. I got an education,
All
something
right.
that she does not have. You don't see
And
me
is that
bring
her
up-
fault that she doesn't have an education?
Yes.
Why?
She's her own woman. I'm not her mother.
You say you went to college?
Yes.
You sound like an ignorant fool.
Doesn't matter.
Coming up on Justice with Judge.
Educated woman, you didn't learn anything about history. Did you take a history class?
Sure did.
You didn't learn a doggone thing. Because if you don't understand why your mother was working where she was working and doing the kind of work that she did and did not get a college education, it's because you don't understand your history and what went on in America during her age, a woman in the 60s, or 60 and over. And you have the audacity to turn down your nose at her for doing what she could to keep your little behind alive and well.
I just don't live my life as a black person, so
What you live your life as?
I live my life as a person of privilege.
You live your life as a
Similar
lie.
to those
That's
of
right.
white people.
Because you said the man that you went to live with, his family was privileged, not you.
Well, that's the life
So you
that I
live in a
created
lie.
for myself.
Okay.
That's the life that I created for myself, and she ruined it.
So how did she
ruined
ruin
that,
it?
and she ruined my relationship with everybody.
How did she ruin your life? And how did we get to this $600 claim?
Because, Your Honor, once I got enough money to get away from her, I moved away. I didn't give her my number. I didn't give her my address. I told her if I wanted to get in contact with her that I'd reach out to her. But no, she is stalking me. She showed up one day to a grocery store in my neighborhood, stalking me down in the aisles, trying to talk to me in front of all these white people.
Oh my God, what a terrible thing.
Well, and then the following week, she shows up to my job, causing a ruckus. And
What did she do?
She's just at the door saying, "Oh, there's my daughter. I need something to say to my daughter, blah, blah, blah." And
What
I
was
see
your
her.
job?
I'm a dancer,
What kind of dancer?
a burlesque dancer.
Burlesque dancer.
Yes.
College education, that's the best you can do?
Yes, I'm still in grad school.
Oh, what you in grad school for?
Law.
Okay. Law. Who are you going to represent?
Myself.
Yeah, you're right. Just you. Because not too many people would hire you with your state of ignorance. So your mother is outside asking for you, not asking, but telling people that's my daughter and I want to see her.
Right, and she said that to my boss.
And?
And now he's asking me if that's my mom, and so of course I had to say no, because they can't have people like her in there.
What? You mean black people, you're dancing at a burlesque club somewhere in Alabama that's still racist?
Listen,
And black people aren't allowed?
Your Honor, let me tell you something. My boyfriend found out that my mom was black, and he confronted me about it.
That's
and when
good.
I said no, I wasn't black, he put his hands on me.
Yeah.
And it's her fault. She came here to ruin me.
It's your fault
It's
because you've been
her
living
fault.
a lie. And you won't accept your heritage and your roots. And you will not acknowledge your mother as your mother. It's your fault because you've been living a lie. And your lie got discovered. And it was totally unnecessary. If you and you were so intelligent and so sensible, you wouldn't have to live a lie. I didn't live a lie, and I have a college education.
That's great. She doesn't.
Oh my goodness. Miss Johnson, I feel your pain.
Yes, ma'am.
I feel your pain. So that's when you say you got sent home because she came to your job and they found out you were not white, but black, and therefore they sent you home because
Yes.
she wasn't allowed there?
Yes, they sent me home
Where
because
is
they
this
can't
place?
have people like her there.
People like her. They
Yes.
had people like her because they had you.
Like I said, her and I are different, obviously.
Miss Johnson, let me hear from you.
Your Honor, I'm so sorry.
If you can talk, but whew, God help me, because I
I'm
feel like
looking-
coming down there and knocking some sense in your head.
Your Honor, I'm just really saddened that I'm here in the first place and that you and everybody else has to hear and know that my daughter is suing me for $600. And I have to say I'm not surprised.
Really?
I'm not surprised.
Why not?
Because my daughter and I, the best thing about this case, Your Honor, is that I get to see my baby because we don't talk, and I don't see her ever.
Coming up,
She can't pass.
Justice with Judge Maybelline. We're back with the case of Sandra Johnson, who is suing Elma Johnson for lost wages.
It's
So how
really-
did you find out where she was?
Well, I ran into a friend of hers that
A white friend?
Yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
And she told me that my daughter frequented a certain grocery store, so I started frequenting the store just in hopes that I would see her because I wanted to talk to her. I wanted to see if she was healthy, that she was happy, and I knew that I would be able to tell that if I could just look into her eyes, that I would know how she was doing.
She may be healthy and happy physically, but she's not healthy.
Well,
She's emotionally destroyed.
Well, you know, Your Honor, this happened a while back because my daughter, she's never been happy in her own skin, basically.
That's what I said. She's emotionally destroyed.
And because her father, he died shortly after she was born, and he was very light complected. And so she took her color from him. And as
She's
you can,
not that much different than you in color. She can't pass for white.
Your Honor, you must not be looking at me.
yeah, but you're
I'm looking at you real clear. And you know good and well, you don't know because you're ignorant, but we come in all different shapes.
Mm-hmm. Well, I wanted my daughter to have a better life than I
As
did.
every mother does.
And, you know, she expressed to me early on that she wished that we were both white because of the challenges that she had experienced in school, and she saw that the darker skinned people she felt were having a harder time, so she didn't want that kind of life. And so
We said that, wanting more, wanting, you can have more and better without missing her.
yes.
That's the part I don't.
Rhonda, you see very much. And so when we get home, she didn't like my hair, the way that my hair looked, because as you can see, she has that beautiful, silky, straight hair. But I tried to explain to her, Your Honor, that that God created us all the way that we are, and that as long as we were healthy, that we were blessed, and it didn't matter what color that you are. You know,
Yeah.
and I tried to share that with my daughter, but she just didn't want any parts of me.
Coming up,
Why are you crying? So what did you do when you went to her job, when you finally found out where she was and where she worked?
Well,
Feeling a mother's pain and love for her child.
Well, Your Honor, when I went to her job, I wasn't trying to stalk her or anything. I just needed to talk to her and so on. I was just telling the security guard there that my daughter was in there and that I needed to talk to her because I had to share something that was
Did you
was
get a
really
chance
important.
to share it?
No, Your Honor, because the security guard just looked me up and down and let me know that
You weren't welcome.
I wasn't welcome there.
You want to share it now? Since she won't allow you to share it elsewhere?
Yes, Your Honor.
What's she got to say?
What'd you say?
I don't want to hear what she has to say.
You got self-hatred. You're living with self-hatred. Trust me, I know it, because I lived with it. I didn't like my thick, nappy, quote, hair, my big nose, my dark skin. I know what you're feeling. But the way you're dealing with it, lying about who you are and what you are and your parentage and your heritage is not the way to handle it. You've got to learn to live with the skin you're in. Do you realize that? Do you realize that?
I realized that I was happy before she came.
You don't have to hate yourself. You're beautiful as you are, no matter what skin color you are, but the beauty comes from within, not from without.
Mm-hmm.
And you're nasty within. And that's because you are hurting and don't like yourself. But you can get some help in dealing with that. But not listening to your mom and hating her. She was born the way she was born. Did she have control over that? No way. Now, I understand from what I read, what your mother has to tell you is something very private about her health. Is that right?
That's right, Your Honor.
And I don't know if you want to share it with the rest of the world. But I'm not so sure that she'll let you sit and talk to her.
She got to say what she got to say now.
Say it.
I went to my doctor because I hadn't been feeling that well. And he took one look at me and saw that my color was different, that I didn't look good, and he asked me what had been going on. And so when I shared with him that I was so worn out and stressed out because I didn't have a relationship with my daughter. My blood pressure was high. Everything was going wrong. So the doctor ordered several tests for me, and I took those tests, Your Honor.
What's the diagnosis?
And the diagnosis was terminal, Your Honor. And I needed to, that's why I was at the club, Your Honor, so I could talk to my daughter and I could share with her and I could tell her what was going on with me. Because I wanted to be able to say goodbye to her before it was too late. I wanted to let her know that I loved her. I wanted her to know that I forgave her for all the hurtful things that she said to me, Your Honor. I love you, baby. You're always going to be my baby. I don't care what has gone on before. You know, so that's why I was there.
Why are you
Not to try
crying?
to get her fired.
Why are you crying?
I'm not crying.
What you feeling?
I don't know.
You don't know.
Judge Maybelline's verdict when justice with
Order? I'm not ordering your mother to pay $600. You lost your job because you lost the night shift and the $600 because of your lies, because of your dishonesty. Had you simply said to that man, yes, that's my mother. Can I have a minute to go talk to her? He probably wouldn't have told you to go home. But that was the only way she could get to see you. You did that. So, judgment for the defendant, I'm denying your claim, but I'm ordering you to go sit down and have a conversation with your mother. If you don't want to talk, just let her talk and you listen. Now, that's the order of the court.
Judge Maybelline has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's case has been denied.